there are going to be people in your life that will sabotage the relationship they have with you as a result of their own insecurity, as a result of their own problems, not because it has anything to do with you. For example, you started talking with this girl, you've been talking for a few days, and then one day you go to text her and you realize you've been blocked. Now, unless you said some crazy shit to this person, then I wouldn't sit there and really try and find out the reasons and, oh my God, what happened? A lot of guys internalize that and they start to think, man, what's wrong with me? Nothing. Maybe someone from her past started talking to her again. Maybe she felt like she was leading you on and she's not ready for something. And she thought that blocking you would be the best option. I mean, people are complex. When I was in my early 20s, I really let these things affect me. I started to look inwards and think, man, what the hell's wrong with me? Maybe you were interviewed for a position and the company that interviewed you said, we're happy to proceed with your application and onboard you, and we'll be shortly sending you over the starter documents. We look forward to having you with us, for example, right? But then a couple of days later, they email you and they say, upon reviewing the business needs, we've come to the conclusion that this position is no longer required. We wish you the very best for the future. I mean, a lot of guys will sit there and think, man, but why? And they'll really work themselves up. As Jim Rohn once said, I wouldn't take that class. I wouldn't try and sit there and investigate and torment myself. I just say, isn't that interesting? Okay. And I keep moving. Now, if it's not something that you can change, why stress yourself over it? If it's something that you can change, well, then take responsibility and change. If you said something disrespectful to someone, I mean, you don't always get a second opportunity to make it right. But if you do, then make it right. I mean, that is something that you do have power over. But there are certain events in your life that will just surprise you. What? Really? But don't be alarmed. Don't be shocked when these things occur. Life is complex. People are complex. Adopt the mentality of, isn't that interesting? And keep things moving. That's the best way to live a peaceful life, is when you accept that things like that will occur. Acceptance is the key thing here. Because if you don't accept that these things will occur, you're going to live a delusional life. You're going to essentially be in this bubble that you've created for yourself. And then reality will hit you like a ton of bricks. You'll be like, whoa, how, why? And you'll make it about you when a lot of the times it's not about you. It's about them. For example, actually, to be fair, this is probably not the best example, but if a girl cheats on a guy, yes, the guy has to take responsibility for certain aspects of the relationship and why it led to cheating. Most of the time, he was oblivious to the facts that she was pulling away and, why is she not kissing me anymore and things like that. Well, at that point, that should be a red flag for you. If you're a guy and your woman's just withdrawn all affection, doesn't even want to kiss you, at that point, you got to be concerned, right? But ultimately, the act of cheating in of itself is more of a reflection of the woman who's cheated on you than yourself. That's the caliber, that's the level that she's operating at. Low vibration, low energy. She's a low quality woman. So she has decided to cheat on you. And she will justify that, as do most cheaters. They'll justify, it's because I wasn't loved and just internally felt different. And, I trusted my heart, whatever bullshit reason they'll come up with. They didn't have the courage to break up with you first. So they cheated on you. But that's more of a reflection of them than you. Now, yes, you were naive in most cases, and you got to learn from these things. You were naive and you were oblivious and you were probably living in this fantasy world and, oh, me and my girlfriend, we love each other so much. And even though in reality, how she's showing up for you is completely different. And this is going slightly off topic, but how people show up for you in your life is a determination of how they view you ultimately. Now, there are some, as I mentioned, some strange occurrences where just someone blocks you out of the blue and you've only spoken to them for a few days, and well, I mean, it ain't nothing you can do about that. But I mean, there are situations where as a guy you need to take responsibility for how you're showing up. If you're too needy or too suffocating, women will pull away. That's just how it is, and you need to learn from that. You can't just say, well, no, it's just her as a person, you know, she's the kind of person that, no, because if you don't learn from that, you're going to move on to the next relationship and you're going to suffocate that woman as well, and you're going to be overwhelming and overbearing, and the cycle will just continue again and again and again. So you got to learn, you got to show up in a certain way that's authentic, not in a way just to get a reaction. No, be a busy guy. Have other things going on. Have your own friends. And ultimately, as a byproduct of you having those things, your woman's going to miss you. She's not going to take you for granted. Okay? However, when those random events do occur in your life where someone just out of the blue sends you a hateful message and blocks you or whatever, then you're like, what? What was that all about? Don't let that overwhelm you. Just tell yourself, isn't that interesting? And just keep moving. Keep moving. You have to keep moving as a man. You have to. The show goes on. Sitting down and sulking in your own misfortune will make you feel worse. Now, grieving is a natural human response, and grieving when there's a genuine reason to grieve is a perfectly normal and healthy thing to do. Don't suppress emotions during a very horrific event. No, because that's not healthy. However, if you're crying because there was loads of traffic, I would tell you to grow the fuck up and man up. Okay, you're not a child. So it depends on what you're grieving about. If you're grieving because there's no more chocolate croissants left, then I would tell you to go see a doctor. Okay, because you're not quite right up there. But you get the fucking point here, right? You get the point. Isn't that interesting? And just keep moving. One step at a time. One day at a time. You got to be the kind of guy who's just unbothered. Not reckless, not careless, but unbothered. To be the kind of guy that isn't fazed by the small, trivial things that occur in life. You're not entertaining BS. You're like a lion who's just sat there eating and there's a jackal walking around, nibbling away beside him. He's not going to see that jackal as a threat or that vulture as a threat. He's just going to look at them and be like, oh, okay, go on then, eat. Have your little, your little snack. I don't see you as a threat. Unfazed, right? Stoic. Because if you're someone who's emotional constantly, it's tiring to be extremely ecstatic one moment and then devastated the next moment and then extremely ecstatic. That takes a toll on you, and it's not healthy. Stress is very, very unhealthy. Okay? Just accept that certain things will happen and keep moving. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give this video a like, comment, let me know what you think down below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. See you in the next one.